4 p.m.
All right.
Click.
Okay,
All
recording.
right. I have some notes from Rodney. The road crew has started working 10-hour days. They're grading roads when the roads aren't too muddy. So they're trying to get around, they've got around the first time on everything in town. And they're getting around on the second time now. Things are looking okay. John Smith started.
Love you.
Oop,
Well,
okay,
We
back to
got some,
business.
Eli.
John Smith. Is that you, Eli?
Yes.
Hi, how you doing?
Not bad, you, Gary?
Good. Anyway, back to business at hand. John Smith started the project on down the road from Pete Button's today, and I think within a few days, with good luck and good weather, they'll be done. And we have bids for the Dickerman Hill project. At least I assume everyone has bids. I got a copy of a couple here. And then Rodney wants us to act, if we can, on the grader thing.
well, what's our other bid on Dickerman Hill? Did we get that last time or something? Because all I got is hooks
No,
here.
Well, we got Hooks and John Smith. John Smith gave us a revised proposal.
Oh,
No, I'm sorry. I don't have a date on it, so, but I got it this spring sometime.
Oh, I got that.
It looks like this. Anyway, it's a little confusing because they, just like normal, they bid a little bit differently. But John Smith's scope of work for machine time was $16,050.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
John Smith, J.L. Smith Excavating, the scope of work for machine time, it says, is $16,050. And then he says 4-inch riprap and chinking stone supplied by the town is $9,048. So we're gonna have to come up with that. So I guess, as I kind of interpreted it, it means he wants $9,000 worth of stone and trucking or whatever on top of the 16,000.
and hooks total is 17,960.
Yeah. But the subtotal, or it is 12,960 for the actual work. And then,
Right.
then Brooke said we need 240 yards of material and plus $2,000 worth of trucking.
So
And
that
so it's a little bit confusing.
we're supposed to supply the 240 yards and the trucking.
Yep. Both estimates are for us, down at Tunbridge, supplying the stone and getting the stone there, as I
Okay.
understand it.
So what was Smith's total before the trucking?
$16,050.
Okay. So hooks quite a lot less.
Yeah,
Wow.
$5,000 less.
But if
No,
the
no.
if the town's supplying this stuff, like for Hook's bid, why is that part of the bid total?
Well, I guess, and I haven't talked to anybody, but I guess it's just because,
Just to bring it up to a total cost, right?
Yeah,
right, I
it's
think
not
they're
actually
just giving
on,
us an estimate.
it's not actually in their official bid. Rodney did the math and then wrote in what the total is gonna be
Right.
with our stone and
Yeah,
trucking.
okay.
Oh,
I didn't recognize Rodney's handwriting.
So what? I
Well,
didn't
It
either.
might not be Rodney's.
What's your pleasure?
Guess I'd
Rodney
like to go
says
with Hook.
that Becky. Okay, well, Becky says that we have the money to do it, which is a good thing. I'm okay with Hook doing it. How about you, John?
Yeah, I'm good with Hook doing it.
I'll make a motion that we hire Hook's Contracting to do the Dickman Hill Road stonework.
I second it.
All right, any more confusing discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Sorry, I thought someone was calling me to get on the meeting. Who'd you vote for?
Aye.
Hook Construction.
I can't remember.
Okay.
You wanna
This internet stuff
do that?
isn't
Great.
working so well.
No. You wanna do that greater thing tonight?
I
I
think
think we're
so.
supposed to.
Why not? Yeah,
Why not?
Gary's hot and
Rodney-
spent 300,000.
Rodney,
I
no, like 270.
make a motion
Did you see that?
that what's that, John?
We didn't hear what you.
You're breaking
I
up,
make a
Mike.
motion
So
This is
that
not
we,
fun.
it must be Jillian's breaking up. I make a motion.
I got
we-
EC5. Don't look at me.
I make a motion, we go for the Nortrax bid on the 672G grader for $272,340.
I second that.
All right, I can speak again. All right, any further discussion? If so, we'll proceed to
sounded
vote.
like
All in
that was
favor of
the-
buying,
Huh?
Discussion's been cut off. Discussion was cut off.
yeah. Okay, all in favor, say yes.
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 Okay,
Yes.
this is not working well. Anyway, I guess it's approved.
It is approved.
I don't look forward
I
to
don't
who
know-
would
I don't
listen to the
know if they're-
recording of this meeting.
Yeah. I'm not sure there's a solution to make it better other than like ending the meeting and then having everybody join again, maybe would do it. But almost don't want to risk that in case it gets all messed up.
Sometimes in Zoom meetings, I
Let's
find it
slog
helpful
ahead.
if people who are not talking are muted, because that takes up less bandwidth.
Oh, that's a good idea. So
Or-
how
or
about
even-
everybody mute yourself?
Even your image too.
Thanks, Anissa.
We all know what each
Yep,
other looks
an
like.
image as well.
All right, how's it working now? No better. We're
Can
losing
you hear me?
people right
How
and
quick
left.
is it?
I can hear you.
You're still
Mike.
freezing, Gary.
I know, it's cold. Can you hear me now?
I can hear
Yeah.
you.
I don't know. Okay. We'll proceed onward then. What's next, Joanne?
I actually am hoping that you can vote to reappoint the 3 EC Fiber representatives. They are having their meeting tonight, and Henry Swayze requested that you vote on it so that they can vote at the EC Fiber election meeting. That is tonight. So it would be basically appointing Henry Swayze, Richard Dibvig, and Amy Frost to their positions that they had last year as well, to be the Tunbridge representatives. I can't remember which numbers they are, like what number, who number 1, 2, and 3 is, but I think for now, if you just vote them all in, appoint them all in.
So moved.
Well, I
All
can't
right,
make a
you're
motion,
moved.
John.
I make a motion that we reappoint the 3 representatives that Jillian just said their names.
That was a lot smoother.
You guys are so hopeless tonight. What's going on there?
This
Okay, John, do you have a
this
second?
meeting should be sent to the Smithsonian as a good example of a select board meeting.
I'm happy to
John,
read out the
Representative
names for
O'Brien.
you to repeat.
No, you can do it.
I second that motion, Mike.
Okay, I'll repeat the
All
motion.
right.
Mike made the motion that we reappoint Henry Swayze, Richard Didvig, and Amy Frost to the EC Fiber Board of Directors, maybe? What was it?
Tunbridge
been seconded.
representatives. To the Fiber.
Ah, all right. We'll make it look better in a minute. Anyway, all in favor, say aye.
All right.
Smooth. What's next?
I had Laura Ginsburg on for 6:30 to get approved. I think she wants approval for the new hazard mitigation plan.
Yep.
She's not in the meeting yet though. And then at 7 was the Lister update which Rudy was going to join for. He's not in yet. After that, we were
Why don't we do the mowing bids?
Yeah, we can do that. We can
All
also
right.
discuss the office because Brenda and I are both here, whatever.
Let's do the mowing
okay.
bids first.
Okay, I have all of them. I'm gonna show my face just so it makes it a little easier.
Oh,
We got-
no.
We got 3 mowing bids, one from Eli Childs, one from Mark McKinstry, Property Service, and one from Green Mountain Mowing, that's a Jacob Mayer. They all provided certificates of liability insurance. So I'm opening Green Mountain Mowing's bid right now. Proposal for lawn care services. Town office building, $25 per mow and trim. Actually, he gave full season totals. So I'll just read those off rather than per mow and trim, if that works for everybody. Town office building would be $550 for the summer. Library would be $770 for the summer. Transfer station would be $330 for the summer. And then the sign, Welcome to Tunbridge signs, would be $550 for the summer. The total is $2,200 for 22 weeks of mowing all of that. He also provided the equipment that he uses. And he also
22
said,
weeks?
sorry?
22 weeks?
Cost per season. So those totals I just read off for the whole summer is based on the assumption that it would be 22 weeks of mowing. So cost per season. But he also
Right after
gave,
Christmas.
oh, that's funny. He also gave per mow and trim prices as well. So like on a per week basis or whatever. I can read those out too if you would like. He also said, well, I'll just read it. We use commercial zero-turn mowers with mulching kits and side discharge that pulverize leaves and grass and return natural nutrients to the soil. Hillsides that are dangerously steep for riding mowers will be done with walk-behind mowers. If any areas are unsuitable for mowers, they will be cut with line trimmers. Trimming around areas or objects such as flower gardens, fences, and trees will also be done with line trimmers. And then additional services, Green Mountain Mowing also has the capacity for additional services upon the town of Tunbridge's request. This work could include, but is not limited to, leaf cleanup, fixing lawn damage from plowing, removing fallen trees and branches, flower bed or tree mulching, and all of those services would be $45 per hour. He also provided references from Margie Becker, the Select Board Assistant in Sharon, Vermont, Andy Wasserman, Cemetery Commissioner in Berkshire, and Randy Levitt, Facilities Coordinator at Sharon Academy, and contact information for all those people.
Randy, all the people we know.
Any questions while I move on?
Who does our cemeteries now?
Orange County Property Management at Orange County, OCCPM. I don't know what the second C is for.
I don't know.
Okay, number 2. This is McKinstry Property Services. Proposal to provide lawn maintenance services to the town of Tunbridge, Vermont. The cost to mow and trim requested properties are as follows. Town office building is $30 per time. Let me pull out the one I just read so that we can compare. Town office building would be $30 per time. Library would be $40 per week or time he would do it. He didn't say what am I trying to say? Timing would be throughout the season. Transfer station would be $40 per time, and the Welcome to Tunbridge signs would be $20 per time. For reference, Green Mountain Mowings was town office, $25 per mow and trim, library, $35 per mow and trim, transfer station, $30 per mow and trim. The signs would be $50 per mow and trim. Everyone still with me? Okay.
What was the total?
There was no total. He just listed per mow and trim. I don't know if you can read that, but so and he like I said, it doesn't specify number of weeks or what the season is to him. Are we good to move on? Hold on. Oh, Anissa, I'm just going to read this out loud, Anissa, because I'm not sure everyone will see it. She wrote, or you can talk, Anissa, too, if you'd like. Thatcher Morrison mows with Green Mountain Mowing, and she wanted everyone to know that's not why she's in the meeting. Okay, last one is from Eli Childs. He also, like I said, attached certificate of liability insurance. Town office building, $20 weekly per mowing. Town public library, $35 weekly per mowing. Transfer station, $35 bi-weekly per mowing. And then the signs would be $20 each bi-weekly per mowing. And he also asked, were you planning on having the town hall and historical signs mowed as well? They've been included in the past. If they are to be included this year, my price for town hall is $15 per mowing, and the historical signs would be $15 per mowing.
Jillian, is there some way we can get a comparison of how much sort of one pass through the town would be per each bid or the entire season? You know, like
What do you
a
mean?
weekly rate for all three. We'll say like in any given week this summer, how much would each of the three bids cost?
I see. Well, if we can assume that, hold on. Yes, I can do that with a calculator.
Mike's
So-
father could do that in his head.
Whose?
Yes, he
Mike's.
could.
Mm-mm. So like, for example, Eli's bid the town office and the library would go weekly, it looks like. So that would be $55 per week for those two buildings. The transfer station and Welcome to Tunbridge signs,
Total it all up, Jillian. Put it in
What?
one lump. Put it in one lump.
I'm trying to. It's just some are bi-weekly and some are weekly.
Well, just cut the bi-weekly in half. Then it's weekly.
Please make sense as a math teacher. Right.
Does bi-weekly mean twice a week or every other week? Like
So
bi-monthly?
the lump sum with sorry, what did you say, John?
Does bi-weekly mean it might be up to twice a week or is it every other week?
I think it means
Every other,
every other week.
I would
Eli
imagine.
can clarify if you want.
Hey there, what I understood is bi-weekly meant every other week. If that
Okay.
helps you guys.
Yeah, that helps you.
And food for thought, the only reason why I put in the town hall and the welcome signs, a number of years ago when I did have the bid, you guys wanted me to go ahead and mow those things, so that's why I threw those extra ones in there. And also for quick figuring for you guys, you can do the 26-week, figure on the average 26 weeks, because you said from the second week of May until the end of October for mowing. So figure on the high side, 26 weeks on the ones you want done every week. Then do that total number times 26. Then the ones for biweekly times that by 13, and it'll give you your answer, Jillian.
Looks like total for Eli's 1785 about. Or hold on, I didn't do the 26 week. I did it based on 22. So okay, no, I'm sorry. Eli's for the weeks that he just figured, Eli's lump sum would be $2,035. And then do you want me to do the lump sum for the others?
Yes.
I'm just gonna read off Green Mountain Mowings, which was 2,200 for the whole season. But
Yeah, but
like
was
I
that-
said, per season was based on 22 weeks.
Okay. That's $100 a week, right?
Yeah,
But 26 for the year. If we went with the 26 weeks to get all the apples the same size.
yeah. And then Mark McKinstry would be a lump sum No, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting that in the bids, I was the one that specified bi-weekly for those two properties parts. So hold on.
My father could do this in his head.
And Rob Button, I guess, too. Probably a few more people.
Mark McKinstry's total would be 2,600 for the season, for 26 weeks.
Well, any motion we go with Eli.
How much
second,
was
Jim?
Eli a week?
Gary, any chance you wrote it down?
Eli was $92.50 a week.
No. Eli's 2,035 for 26 weeks.
For the whole, yeah,
McKinstry's 2,600. Green Mountain is
Yep.
2,600. So I make a motion, we go with Eli.
Yeah, I second it.
all right. All in favor, say aye. Aye,
All right.
All right.
it's unanimous. Eli, get ready.
Thank you,
Includes
guys.
snow blowing.
Yeah, that includes snow blowing until October.
Okay, well, it's
Snow blow in
6:30
his head.
and Laura is here in the meeting.
All right, welcome, Laura. Unmute yourself, please. There you go.
Hello,
Hi,
how is everybody?
struggling.
Sounds
Your
like
poor
some higher
internet,
level
Cole.
math at the end of the day.
All right, what do
So-
you have?
I am here to present you with the official final draft version of the hazard mitigation plan renewal for the time period of 2020 to 2025.
I
No.
read every word of that.
Oh, good. Was it scintillating?
Yes.
Good. I'm glad it was worth your time. We definitely have spent enough time going through it. So I do just want to note that there's no action required on your part tonight. This is just to let you know essentially what we've done, the process we've gone through. If you did have a chance to read it, if you had any comments or feedback, and then to let you know next steps while it goes on its way before it comes back to you for formal adoption. So I can kind of give you a run through of process if you'd like, just so you know what the Planning Commission's been up to. That would be helpful. We knew that our hazard mitigation plan was coming up for renewal at the end of 2019, about August last year, and started working with the state, applied for a grant for funding to get this done, didn't hear anything. And then the opportunity to work with Two Rivers Ottaquechee Regional Commission came up. So we took them up on that offer. They had some funding left over. So they were happy to kind of step in and help us, because this is a renewal to an existing plan. It's not a new plan. It took significantly less time and effort than the first go round. So we started with Kevin and Jess from Two Rivers and met with Jess in person and then online a few times to walk through the plan. Prior to meeting with her, the Planning Commission had identified areas that we knew needed to be edited anyway. So by the time she came on, we already had a lot of the information gathered that she was going to need. So the main parts that we edited, updated community profile, which includes things like population, economy, different things like that, just some really general stats. the planning process. There's a poster included from the original plan discussion back in, this was in 2016, I think. And so we just updated again the information with our meetings as a commission, then a public meeting, indicated that I talked about it at a town meeting, all the boxes that we have to check for FEMA adoption. We sent it out to all of the surrounding towns, received no feedback, posted it on Front Porch Forum, local newspapers for the public meeting that we held via Zoom last week. We had no takers. It was great to connect with the Planning Commission though, via Zoom, watch everybody try to figure out how to use it. And that we're meeting tonight to unofficially present it to you. Then Jess went through and updated all of the information regarding when there's been events, how substantial the property damage is, what percentage they make up of events, NOAA information, flooding, including the fairgrounds flood from winter of 2019, severe storms, all those kinds of things. Then we analyzed the priority hazards and changed some of those from low impact to moderate significance, from medium to high in some cases, particularly flooding and tropical storms or severe thunderstorms. We changed, knowing that with climate change, we're at greater risk for high precipitation events. Then we went through and updated the community assets where work had been done, specifically with culverts. That was a big one where the road crew's been doing great work and addressing a lot of areas in town that were noted in the previous hazard mitigation plan as being high priority to address. Changed a lot of the language to, instead of refer to farm names by families who lived there 100 years ago that aren't as meaningful to some of us newbies in town, to actual addresses or intersection location, so that it can be understood by everybody which areas we're talking about. And then at the end, well, I guess it's not all the way at the end, but starting on page 38, it's our mitigation actions and a status update. Some of these followed through from the original plan, some we added on, and they've got notes in them, kind of in the gold column. And so these will stay in here unless they're no longer relevant, and then they'll be removed in the next update. But you can kind of see on that where we feel like there's additional work or information needed, or community gathering opportunities to better address potential hazards. And finally, the mitigation actions towards the end there. Then there's a number of maps and the community assets worksheets that are done. So that's an overview of the plan and the process. Jess is happy with where it's at. And I guess I'll pause now to see if anybody has any questions about the plan itself that I can answer.
What are the next steps?
Great question, Gary. That's where I was going to go next. So the next steps are, there's a couple blanks in the plan for dates that I finished filling in. There's a worksheet that I fill out indicating that we've checked all the boxes. It goes to the state for review. They have 45 days upon receipt to review it and approve it. FEMA at the federal level has streamlined the process to where if the state reviews and accepts it, then FEMA accepts it. So it does not have to go up to the federal level for review and approval. It just, once the state accepts it, we're good to go. Then it comes back to me, sent back to you to put it on an agenda forthcoming for you all to vote on and formally approve. And then we're in a good place for the next 5 years to get the highest rate of FEMA funds if we have a disaster.
So what is the length of time this process will anticipate it to take?
So I'll send this off to the state tomorrow, or tonight if I'm feeling so inclined. And then they've got 45 days upon receipt. So that would put us to the end of June if it's 45 business days. And then you get it back and can adopt it at the next meeting. At that, essentially after this meeting, there's no further changes to it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in its final draft, pending approval.
All right. Sounds good to me.
Great.
Laura, what are the man-made hazards? I noticed there was some reference to that, and that especially that FEMA would cover.
That's a great question. Let me refresh. I feel like that those were things like if there was a tanker truck driving through town that turned over and there was a fuel spill, that would be not considered a natural disaster in the way that an ice jam would be, but a disaster that wouldn't have otherwise happened if it wasn't for human interference.
Like any structure fires or brush fires, say if, Brockle Bank had all burned down, would that be potentially FEMA reimbursable?
I'm going to let Brenda answer that because she is definitely more the expert in how those things relate.
They do list wildland fires as some of the stuff that's reimbursable. I think we'd have to get up to a very high level. Like a wildland fire would have to take out like multiple houses.
Right.
It is right. It's a percentage or a dollar amount per person in the town, which is why when there is a natural disaster, FEMA has to come in and evaluate the dollar amount of damage in specific areas.
And something like the fairgrounds, an explosion leading to most of the fairgrounds burning down, would that be a FEMA event? Brenda?
I'm not sure. And that would be a high one. And I would think it might fall under their own insurance.
Right.
If you had a wildland fire and it took out multiple houses and went on for 3 or 4 days,
yeah,
the cost of bringing in all the firefighters, feeding them, taking care of them, that alone without the personal insurance on the houses would be an astronomical fee.
Right. Or if it took out like electrical lines as well.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Any questions, Mike?
No.
So do we
Okay.
make a motion to approve?
No, this is purely informational. And if you had a lot of feedback about a section, if we totally missed something or gotten information wrong, this would be your opportunity to correct it. But there's no official action that you need to take right now. When it comes back to you, I will be back to present it to you in its formal version, ready for adoption by the town, and that's when you'll take a vote.
All right, well, good job.
Yeah, it's
Thanks.
impressive.
Thanks. Yeah, we couldn't have done it without the help of Two Rivers, that's for sure. I think we'd still
All
be
right.
waiting for federal funding.
Laura, when is the next time we have to adopt an entirely new one?
So we never have to do it completely new again. It's always just updates henceforth. So the next time it's due is 2025. So ideally it would start in the summer of 2024 so that it is adopted and ready to go before it expires. Because we've been in process of getting it finalized essentially the entire time it's been, it's not really technically expired. It's just not current. we would still be able to claim the highest FEMA amount. If we had let it expire and had not been actively working on it, that's when you get into not into trouble. You just get lower reimbursement rates. So we've been okay, but I would suggest that the 2024 summer timeframe is when the town planning commission should start thinking about it again.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Submit that thing and get it coming back toward us.
All right, will do. Thanks.
Good job.
Thank you, Laura.
Thanks.
Yep.
Have a nice
Thank
evening.
you.
You too.
Bye.
Right. All right, administrative assistant, are you there?
I am here. At 7, we've got Lister update from Rudy. I saw him pop on and then pop off, so, and it's only 6:45, so maybe that's why.
What about your office stuff?
Yeah, we can talk about that. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So, the town employees had a Zoom call last Wednesday, I think it was. So it was me, Becky, all 3 listers, Brenda, and Betsy Race. And we sort of all came to an agreement that installing a counter and a plexiglass or some sort of glass window with a slot to pass things through in the door frames on the left and the right of the town office, right when you walk in the front entrance, they lead into the respective offices, would be a great way and safe way to open the building up to the public as soon as it's done. And once those were installed, we also agreed that for the time being, until the governor or whoever says, you know, through an official channel says, we don't need to worry about social distancing as much now, that only allowing 2 people in that the hallway of the town office would be safe. So we would put a lot of signage on the door saying only 2 people are allowed in the hallway at this time. We talked about the bathroom, and I think we mostly, correct me if I'm wrong, Brenda, but we agreed that it should remain available to the public, and that we'll just, again, put signs up and leave cleaning supplies in the bathroom for people to clean before and after they use it. And then as for the public utilizing the 2 offices, I will continue just taking appointments for research in the vault. Marriage licenses I can do through the window, notarizing I can do through the window. Really the only thing that people need to actually enter my office for is the vault. So that'll just continue by appointment until social distancing isn't an issue anymore. And then Becky can take tax payments through the window once it's there. The only reason we all foresee the public needing to enter the treasurer lister office is if they need to have a meeting with the listers and sort of sit down at the table and look at maps and stuff. And in that case, all 3 of the listers were comfortable with a policy of everybody needing to wear masks in a situation like that and maintain 6 feet while they're having that meeting. Rudy said, though, that he thinks really most meetings and information from the listers can be passed via phone and email. So we are hoping that you guys are on board for that plan. And then assuming you are, I'm planning on reaching out to whoever we can think of or whoever you can suggest to come in and take a look at the doors and see what it would take to basically all the doors just need to come out of the frame, and then a counter needs to be built in the frame, and then the window needs to be installed. So none of us anticipate it to be a long process.
So I got a little bit to add on to that. I was tasked with trying to look into plexiglass In talking with Portland Glass and West Leb, they actually spent a fair amount of time with me. And of course, I remembered that plexiglass scratches like crazy, and this is going to have to be cleaned a lot. So in no time at all, it was going to be a mess. So they said we could go with Lexan, which is a little tougher, but still will scratch with repeated cleaning. They said we really should consider something like tempered glass if we could. And so for 2, one on either side of Lexan, 50 by 36 were rough measurements that Jillian and I came up with, was $249.26. For 2 of the same measurements for tempered glass, it was $281.26. So that's for the glass at all. I certainly, after talking with him, would suggest we go with the tempered. We might as well do it right, since I think we're going to be cleaning a lot. As far as the bathrooms, thank you very much. Everybody told me that I could look into the poo subject. And Two Rivers actually said it was a timely question. Everybody's been talking about it. And you can allow people to keep using it if they follow CDC guidelines. And the rough ones that we all have to do is you have to clean the place and disinfect everything. Handles, everything, morning, midday, and when you leave, including your workstations. So that was up to us. They said they also could understand the workers in there not wanting the general public to be using it, but that people who absolutely had to use it when they come in, or anybody who's doing research in the vault could use it, but it had to be cleaned after they left. So that was more of a personal thing. The other one, while I'm on it, is make sure that we get the training for everybody. And it's real quick. It's online. It's the VOSHA training. Jillian, did you get that yet? Did you take that?
You're
Sorry,
muted.
I forgot I was muted. Yes, I have it. No, I have not done it yet. I'm sorry.
Okay, it only takes like 10, 15 minutes, but I was thinking about it afterwards. The select board should take it quick. It's real easy greasy. There's no questions. There's no quiz. And at the end of it, you print out the certificate, and I think we put it on the file. I'm working with the fire department to have something similar that they're supposed to do, but we also should have the road crew take it. This is just covering us. I noticed that, you know,
The
like
road
one of the
crew
meat
did take it.
factories
All 4 of
today
them
is
took it,
being
and I
sued.
have their. Sorry.
Excellent, excellent. I mean, it's like 10 minutes. You just read, and at the end of it, it just says you read it.
Yeah, my wife
just good
did that,
guidelines.
and everybody at her office had to.
Okay, I can do
Oh,
that.
one other thing, Gary, I almost forgot. Two Rivers also thought that these renovations in the building should go under any, if we do the emergency funds that we request,
Yep.
you know, where we have to do 3,300 or more, that we should put this into.
Sure.
So make sure that if we do think that we need to do any other modifications in there, remember there's a possibility that it could be included under that.
Yep. Well, how about if we contact Mike Howe, or have Jillian contact Mike, because he's our normal handyman, see what he thinks.
I can do that.
Thank you.
Sounds like a good idea.
Brenda, what's the glass they're using in the supermarkets?
I think a lot of that's plexiglass, because it's there's not much difference in the cost. But it's going to scratch up after a while and just become a blur. Anybody who's worked with plexiglass could tell you that. And I think the Lexan's the same way. If we're going to, I think these are going to be semi-permanent type things, and I bet you'll see the town of Tunbridge using on a regular basis, hence why I encourage us not also to use Portland glass. They put a fair amount of time in on the phone with me, and I think they gave a reasonable price.
Brenda, can you send that information, I probably already have, to Jillian so she can pass it on to Mike and just, then he can have all the information he needs to make a intelligent decision?
Yes, I'll drop it off tomorrow, Jillian, at the office.
Does anybody have, just in case for some reason Mike says he doesn't have time or doesn't want to do it, can we think of any other names of folks to reach out to? Just, I'll call Mike first, but.
My neighbor behind me, as I sit here at the table, Rob Kwiatkowski, is a good handyman.
Okay. I also thought Charlie maybe could do it too.
Sure. Give him a chance.
He can be our last resort.
Okay. Okay, any more discussion on the town office?
No, sounds good to me.
Does the bathroom have to be open all the time, or could it be a situation where you ask for a key, like in other public places, just as far as cutting down? I mean, it's still open to the public, but it would just cut down on the amount of exposure it's getting.
I think
I don't see why-
it's up to the person. If Jillian and other people want to keep it very restricted to themselves and anybody who's there doing longer periods of work, everybody would understand that from what I'm getting on my poo research, my potty review.
I also think, personally, I have no desire to use a public bathroom these days. So I also think that's just going to cut down as well. I think people want to avoid using a public bathroom if they can. I guess maybe that's hopeful thinking, but.
Okay, thank you very much for all that useful information.
What
If you don't
is the
need me
window
anymore, I
on this,
could.
Brenda and Jillian? No, I just wondered
Time
what the
window for
window is, like
completion?
how soon could we get these in place, or how soon do you like?
We were waiting to pass the ideas on to you and make sure you thought it was a good idea. And then tomorrow I'll call Mike and then basically just ask for it as soon as possible. And everybody, all the employees agreed that once those windows were up, we were comfortable opening to the public with the limit of 2 people in the hallway. So as soon as possible.
All right.
Would it
Get
help
right on it.
for us to make a motion to say, I was just wondering, would it help for us to make a motion saying that, you know, for under $1,000 that we give you permission just to go ahead and do this, find a contractor?
It probably wouldn't hurt.
There you go, John. Make a motion.
All right. I move we give the town employees in the town offices the permission to spend no more than $1,000 on getting safety procedures, structural safety procedures built into the town offices as soon as possible, as soon as they desire.
I second it.
All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. That's an aye.
Aye.
So maybe by next
Okay,
meeting, then you could have something.
You don't need me for anything else, right?
Nope.
I'm leaving.
I don't
Go
think
ahead.
so.
Goodbye. Thank you for your help.
Thanks, Brenda.
You're welcome. See you
Thank you.
guys.
Bye. All right, what's next, Jillian? It's almost 7 o'clock.
Lister's stuff is next. I see Rudy, but I don't see that his microphone or camera is connected. So we can give him a second. He might be waiting till 7 on the dot. And then that will be the last of the scheduled stuff. Then it's just minutes and orders and warrants.
All right, Rudy looks like he's connecting.
Sorry about that. I think I got it now.
I can hear you now.
Some technical difficulties.
All right, are you going to join us in an image or just your voice?
I do not have a camera, so it'll just be the voice.
Okay. All right, we'll proceed.
Okay. So I just wanted to check in. This is our typical May, November lister slot. And I think partly it got set up that way because we're heading towards launching our lodging the grand list at this point. There has been a letter issued from PVR to automatically extend the grand list lodging to August 15th. And we are still pushing to complete on the normal date, which would be June 4th. So it's still our hope to hit that date, but at this point, it's that time of year where all of a sudden people start showing up out of the woodwork. And so I am hoping there is a letter on my desk in the office at this point, and for an extension. As I mentioned, PVR has automatically granted it, but they asked for, if we need it, to have a select board signature and have us submit that by June 4th. So we were hoping to meet or participate with you again, meet a loose term, on May 26th, and should have a much better handle about how close we are, and hopefully be able to lodge it in that next week. We don't think that we would need anything probably more than a week beyond that, if that. And I have a lot of concerns about starting to push things back much further than that. So I guess that was all I had on that front right now. I think we're down to probably the last 15 or so changes before we lodge the grand list and get ready to send out notices and do all the postings. If we hit that June 4th date, then typically our grievances are done by around the 4th of July. And that allows us to work with you in July to be setting the budget and have tax bills go out by August 15th. So our hope is still to be on that kind of time schedule. And even if we extend a week beyond the normal deadline, I think we would still be able to hit those time frames.
Well, sounds good. Sounds like you're trying really hard.
So beyond that, I guess the other update is that grievances will obviously be pretty different this year. And this will be tied to the COVID preparations, or And so we are planning on doing those remotely at this point, probably via offering a Zoom option or a phone option. And that would go out with the notices when the grand list gets lodged and the notices go out. Typically, anybody that has had a change in their assessment over the year automatically gets a notice of the change of appraisal. And that has the explanation of what the grievance procedure is. And that will include the options for this year. So I think that's about all I had on that front.
Okay, anything else, lister wise?
The only, so I think you already covered the office, town office COVID?
Yes.
Okay. So that was the other primary one. And then I believe you have received Jola's resignation letter that's effective. She's been gracious enough to grant us time until June 6th to try to get the grand list lodged. And so we'll be looking at transitions after that. And the only other item
okay,
was
thank you.
not necessarily direct. The only other item I had was not specific to the listing, but there is a discovery meeting for FEMA and USGS are looking at the floodplain maps. On May 26th, they are doing what they call a discovery meeting to start the process of possibly updating the maps. And that would likely be a 5-year process. And the first steps are finding out what the towns use right now and what information is available. So I'm planning on participating in that meeting on May 26th. That'll be a remote meeting. It was originally scheduled for the Bethel Town Hall, but had to get postponed and eventually set up as a remote meeting due to the COVID. So that was all I had.
All right, sounds like you're pretty busy. Okay, anything else, Helen or Jola?
No, I think Rudy covered it.
All right, well, thank you very much for showing up.
Well,
Thank
a couple
you.
things, Gary. I know legislatively, there were a couple bills that might affect us. One was that municipalities were going to have a certain amount of freedom to waive penalties, interest on property taxes. So we might want a discussion about that, but it doesn't have to be now. And another one was on the grievance visits and how those would work with social distancing. So how far those bills have gotten, I haven't caught up with them since we passed them out of the House, but there's been a lot of municipal stuff going on, including a lot of lister stuff. So, Jola, did we find a successor for you? Or do you recommend one for listers?
You're muted, Jola.
Sorry.
there. I don't know of anybody that's interested in it. If I knew of anybody, or if I know of anybody that is, I'll let you know. But as far as, I don't know if Helen and Rudy have anybody in mind.
I don't. At this point.
Betsy Sponable was possibly back around in town, so I was hoping to try to touch base with her at some point. I'm certainly open to other suggestions as well, but if she was around and available, she obviously would be, you know, a prime candidate.
That is an awesome
I hadn't
idea.
thought
I didn't
about
even
that.
think about her.
Good idea.
All right.
Do we have a plan?
Pretty
for
helpful
somebody
for me to
reaching
have
out to
around
her?
too.
Say again, John.
Do
John,
we have a point
you wanna
person for reaching out to
repeat that?
Betsy?
No,
we-
I mean, I
Do we have a
can,
point
if no
person,
one else
either
wants to.
Lister or Jillian, for reaching out to Betsy?
Sounds like Rudy.
No,
I assume
not
that the
yet.
listers would
Can you
do
hear
that,
me?
but yeah, we can hear
Rudy,
you, John.
would
It's
you
just
like
I'm
really
happy to
laggy.
take that
Plan
on.
to.
Okay, sounds like Rudy's gonna do that.
Yes, I'd be happy to take that on.
Great, Rudy.
All right. Anything more for Helen, Yola, or Rudy?
I don't think so.
I guess not.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much for showing up. This has been
Thank you.
awkward.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. See ya. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They're dropping like flies. Jillian, are you there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we still have
All right.
Anissa.
Just all that's left is
Anissa's
other.
standing by.
This
Does
is the
Anissa
best
wanna
kind of
speak?
meeting. You can make dinner while you attend a meeting. I do have something I would talk about if you guys are at that point in your agenda.
We can fit you in.
Okay.
We can fit you in.
Oh, you're at this point? So if you
Yes.
guys are,
Go
what I
for
was
it.
interested, okay. What I was interested in just bringing forth is a potential, so I know that the town has and uses the right-of-way to cross from the town, near the town garage through our field with town equipment. Some of you may be aware that last summer and the summer before, we experienced an adjoining landowner taking gravel from the pit, which is, or not from the pit, from the river, which is allowable by statute. But this gravel or rocks that are being taken out of the river are taken from my side and really intentionally, I believe, making it so that my property is damaged. What I am interested in just putting forth and letting you all talk about, I don't need a decision, it's not a, I'm willing to purchase and install a gate to go on the east side, the town side, at the top or wherever on that hill. The town can have the only key, and that would prevent someone who doesn't own that access from crossing the river or going into the river and removing material and damaging my land. So I'm putting that out there. I don't, I'm willing to discuss if you want, but I am also just willing to let you all talk about it. I know we live in a small community. Oh crap, I've got something cooking. Sorry, I'm making hush puppies. Okay, they're all out of the oil now. I don't know if you all have questions. That was just something that I wanted to put out there and let you all discuss.
How do you make hush puppies?
How easy I'm frying them. That's probably the reason why I should pay attention.
I guess the question that popped into my mind was if you were to put up a gate where you say, I guess it would be on the opposite, on the recreation road side of the river.
Yes.
And do you actually own that land, or how do you legally put a gate up over there?
Oh, well, it's not really that I don't know who owns that side of. I would assume that the town may, if you have land on whatever side that tapers down.
Yeah.
That I believe is probably beyond the edge of the other landowner. I don't know where the other property boundary is, but I know that that other pit starts a distance away.
Yeah.
So really,
I'm not against it. I was just thinking about the logistics of it.
yeah, from a logistics standpoint, what I'm putting forth is willing to have it installed or install it, willing to purchase the gate, and then let the town have the lock and key.
Okay.
So that was my thing for the evening.
Yep. Wes Tunbridge, do you have an opinion? Well, okay. Well, thank you very much. We'll think about it. And what time do you eat right now?
Whenever the food's ready, we eat.
How often is that Ford used by the town or anybody else?
The town only uses it when they are taking a piece of equipment like the grader north. So whatever time they're working on roads that are off 110 north, they cross it with the grader. And I think the grader is the only thing that crosses it, and not that often. Mike says that sometimes they even go the long way. I think it just cuts time off for them, and certainly would save a tremendous amount of fuel.
Okay. Well, do you guys want to discuss it more tonight, or do you want to ponder it and get back to Anissa at some future date?
I think we should find out who owns the land on the far side of the river. Like, I don't know if essentially the rec road, abuts that cord on the rec road side. But that's something the listers probably could advise us on.
I can also try to figure it out before passing it to the listers, just to try and keep it off their plate.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Look into it, because I'm pretty sure for some reason I think that the town actually owns a strip of land through there somewhere, and it is not like a right of way. It's an actual ownership thing. So it might be a little bit different somehow. So, but we need to look into that.
I can't picture exactly where you're talking about. So if I'm standing like at the transfer station, can someone describe to me where the crossing is?
Well, do you remember where the new stone was put in to reinforce the riverbank last summer?
Yeah.
Just away from the town garage from that, if you're headed back toward
towards the fields.
Yep.
Okay.
So
okay,
do you remember, Gary, from putting that riprap in, was that town property or is it state property because it's navigable river bank?
I don't know. Don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember.
West Tunbridge, do you have anything to say?
No, all quiet over here.
Okay.
I think we'll look into it, make sure we know who owns what over there.
Okay.
There's
we'll
a
get
right of
Julie.
way or whether we own it or what's going on.
Okay, we'll get our able assistant to get right on that first thing in the morning. Oh, she says yes, indicates yes. All right, well, thank you, Anissa. Go and eat your hush puppies.
Thank you, Anissa.
Thank you.
She chatted to me. Have a great evening. Thank you. It's dinner. Okay, this is going so much faster than I
Makes
thought
me
it was
hungry.
going to. So I just, before you do minutes and orders, I wanted to ask you to come again to the town office this week sometime, to the same spot where we left the health order, to sign the certification of compliance of town road and bridge standards for VTrans. It's just the codes and standards that you adopted last year. It's just a certification that we're still abiding by them. I probably could have looked into how to get like verbal approval and then put it on this paper somehow, but I just really feel better about you coming in and signing it. So if that works for everybody, that would be great. There doesn't seem to be a deadline, but I'd like to get it in as soon as possible. And then, does that work for everybody? You can just nod if it does. Okay. Okay, got a slow nod from Mike, but it's there.
Well, it's West Tunbridge, so
and then I
kind
also,
of like a cowboy.
he's in a different time zone. I also just wanted to double check that you got the forwarded email of pictures of the roller that came to
Yes.
me today from Caterpillar. I've gotten lost in the whole roller situation, so if you have questions about it, I would ask Rodney. I think he's just thinking about purchasing it in the future. Why he wanted, I don't really,
Yes.
I'm just the messenger for the roller. And I also forwarded you a complaint from Debbie Densmore that I just wanted to be sure that you got as well. I'm not sure that if I need to like describe the nature of the complaint on the, she didn't ask for it to be publicly discussed at the meeting. She just asked me to forward it. So I guess if anybody has any further questions about it, they can contact me.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Well, how about we move on to the minutes?
Mm-hmm.
I only saw one.
About them, John.
I only saw one defect. Well, glaring defect. And I've written.
I was two people.
Yes, that's the one I saw.
He said O'Brien and John agreed.
It's your split personality or alter
Yeah,
ego.
that's right.
Well,
Yeah, this
they
whole
did,
COVID
and-
thing.
okay.
What happens is when I'm writing notes, I write down your first names, and then when I'm like transcribing it, I have to remember to switch back to last name. Not that it's really that important probably, but so sometimes that happens. Okay, I'll fix that.
And the one other thing I was trying to remember was, did Christina Grunwald's significant other speak?
He did.
So we should put him down, whatever
Oh,
his
you're
name
right.
was.
Right, he did. He did.
Oh, I don't remember his name. Paul? I'll go back and check. What paragraph was John's split personality?
First, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, right in the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
O'Brien and John agreed.
So it should be O'Brien and
Right.
Mullen.
I have 2 votes on this, on the select board.
Mhm.
Or O'Brien could move something and John could second it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You're a quorum wherever you go, John.
I have to watch having meetings. Open
You
meeting
can't-
law if I speak to myself.
You can't even be
If I
around
mutter to
yourself.
myself, it's an open meeting.
Yeah.
On the transfer station, so the only way now to officially get tickets is through the town offices, Jillian,
Mhm.
with the drop box.
Or mail if people want to. They can mail.
Okay. And then Brenda and I talked about, as soon as I get around to it, doing some signage over at the transfer station on the sort of frequently asked questions.
That'd be great. Yeah. Yeah.
And Mike said he would do some tickets, even to have a few, because he was, instead, people were like, oh, I forgot. And, then he was writing down names and, sort of like an honor system. And that, I don't know which is worse, having, him selling tickets as far as just, he said it was fine, but I don't know about, it just seems to distract him from his main job. But
Yeah.
it's even more work for him to sort of figure out, who promised to pay next time. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Why don't we try, give him a few or something and just, I don't, try to somehow keep track of that.
Yeah, I mean, we could give him, 10 pack every time, just for people who have totally forgotten.
What if we did pay by check only? I know that a lot of people would grumble about that too, but I mean, it's a happy medium.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, let's try that.
Okay, so you
And
want,
he could just have a limited amount every time too, so.
okay, so we could just make up a few, maybe like 10 of each and require it to be check only.
Sure.
Okay. I do feel bad for him because if someone comes and they've forgotten their tickets, I'm sure he doesn't want to turn anyone away. I mean,
Right, that's what's happening.
yeah. Well, and also once the windows are open, people will be able to come in
Right.
into the office and buy some. It's just
Right.
sort of funny. To me, it doesn't really seem less convenient to have to do this Dropbox thing. If anything, it actually seems more convenient because people can do it at any time of day. But whatever. I guess I'm not everybody, so. Like, I can't speak for everybody. Okay.
Not for
orders.
West Tunbridge.
We just throw our rubbish over the bank over here. Don't need no ticket.
As long as the tires roll down to East Bethel.
That's right.
Okay, so can we, are you satisfied with the minutes, John? Can we just vote to say they're okay?
Yes. I
All
move
right.
to approve the minutes pending those changes.
I second it.
Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye. Aye,
Aye.
Aye.
you got it, Jillian. How about, let's talk about the orders next.
I guess I'll make a motion. We approve the orders.
I second that.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye,
Aye.
Aye.
you got it. Unanimous again?
One thing, I got an email from Jim Ludwig saying they had refurbished the Tunbridge historical village signs and pruned the juniper underneath it, and he said that sign's slowly deteriorating, and the one to the north they were going to check on, but he might need some guidance and potential small amount of money to do it in the future. But I didn't even know, is it the town of Tunbridge that maintains those signs, or is it the historical society? Who's really in charge of those signs? Who erected them, or who's in charge of maintenance of them?
I don't know. I think it had something to do with the Historical Society, but I couldn't swear to it.
Maybe if you see Kay, you could ask her.
Sure.
I think those are the ones that midsummer we asked
Right.
Evan to start mowing around. So I don't know that means they're the town's responsibility, but that's, Eli included those if we wanted in his bid.
Because they're the sort of chartered in 1761 signs, and then they're those historic village signs too.
Yeah.
Which sounds like they're not going to last forever.
All right, I have it written down. My action item is to call Kay and ask her about that. So I will.
On the water side of things, I have a message in to Rob Evans, and this mysterious Dan Mason from Agency of Natural Resources, Department of Environmental Conservation. They're essentially the water cops, and haven't heard back. So I'll just keep following up with them, both about Anissa's issue and about Richard Barnaby's issue.
Yep, good job.
West Tunbridge is chuckling.
I actually have a follow-up question on this certification of compliance I just told you about. One of the questions on it is whether or not we have an up-to-date highway network inventory, which identifies location, size, deficiencies, condition of roads, bridges, causeways, culverts, and highway-related retaining walls. Do you guys know if that exists in Tunbridge? I don't feel that I've come across one.
Why don't you talk to Rodney, because he should have a list of stuff like that.
It seems like it's more of an official. Oh, sorry, John. Like an official.
No, I was just saying we have an inventory of culverts and sort of historic stone bridges, right? But some of that other stuff, I don't think.
Yeah, and we have
retaining wall.
We have a inventory of those class 4 roads erosion stuff. That was 2 rivers. I can always, I'll ask Rodney. I was just wondering if off the top of your head, any of you knew.
All right, what's next?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
I second that.
All right. All in favor of adjourning the meeting at this time at 7:32 p.m. signify by saying aye.
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 O'Brien says aye. John says aye.
4 votes.
4.